All right, we're live, I think.
Hey, what's up, brother Lee?
What's up, Gary?
Hey, buddy.
Lee here. I got Gary on the line. If you guys can hear me or hear us, please say something in the chat box.
Hey, what's going on over there?
All right.
Cool. All right. I see someone in there from Dallas.
Awesome.
What's up, Dallas? Lee and I are both in Atlanta, so glad to have you here, man.
Dallas. LA in the house.
All right, go LA.
We got a few from Atlanta. Oh, hold on.
Oh, yep.
Hold on. Looks like everybody's on a countdown. I got Kenny Mario telling me what's going on.
Charlotte, North Carolina. I thought Kenny was up in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, we are live. This is Lee, and we got Gary McCormick, one of my students on the line. How you doing, Gary?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me on tonight, Lee.
All right. So we got Western Canada in the house. Dave, welcome.
Nice.
Kenneth from Charlotte, welcome. We got Tom from LA, welcome.
Cool.
Who else we got?
I got Tony from Dallas over here. He was the first guy in.
All right, Tony.
Nice way to hit it, Tony.
All right.
People in Dallas must be on time or ahead of time.
That's right.
Stephen in Nicaragua. Oh my gosh. Awesome, Stephen. We're glad you're here, bro.
And oh, nice. Yeah, I just saw that. Nicaragua. So we got Matt from St. Louis. What's up, Matt?
All right, Matt.
Good to have you here. We got Nancy from Maryland. Maryland, my stomping grounds. Love it.
Yeah. That DC area, man.
Yep. Larry from Columbia. Belfast. Scott, nice. Welcome. Cool. I haven't been to Ireland yet. I've been all over Europe. I haven't been to Ireland yet. My daughter's dying to go.
Yeah, our buddy Nick Ferrar is from Scotland.
Nice.
Nick Ferrar, he's a good brother. He's from Scotland. Great offliner.
Awesome. Andre from Boston. Welcome. Hey, Glenn from Canada. Glenn, you've been reading my emails, man, because I think we can help you out pretty good. South Korea. Wow.
Go welcome. JB.
Good old JB. Nice. Did I already call out Larry from Columbia? Larry, welcome. Joey from Houston. Yep.
That's not far from Dallas, baby.
Yeah.
Texas is sweet.
Scott from Norway. I was just there, Scott, like a month ago. Was it already a month ago, Gary? Gee.
Yeah, man. It's been like 4 weeks. And that's right at a month, bro.
Good gravy. I missed it all. Norway's so beautiful, dude.
You were gone a long time, man. I got used because you were working with me every week coaching. You're gone 5 weeks, man. It's a long 5 weeks you were gone.
Yeah, I had to do it though. Western Australia, Perth, very nice. I haven't been to the west coast of Australia yet. I've been to the east coast a couple of times, Sydney and Great Barrier Reef. But
that's on my list too, Simon.
Nice. All right, so everybody's still checking in. We'll give it another minute here. Satellite Beach, Florida, John. Yep, Andre, we're gonna help you out, bro.
Cool, man.
Yep. So we still got people checking in. I'm gonna start in about a minute here.
Yep. Yeah, for anybody listening, Lee's been doing this for more than 15 years. So yeah, he's the cat. I've been doing it for about 5 years, but a number of those years were part-time. I had another business here in Atlanta, but now this past year I'm full-time doing the marketing, the offline. And so anyways, anything we can do, that's the whole point tonight, is to help you guys get a jump start, to get ahead, because I mean, Lee's been just super valuable to me in cutting my time down in the learning curve and really getting it going and knocking it dead. And we're just super excited to share everything we humanly can with you guys. It's a real uphill fight, we know. And Lee did it for a long time to break into it and make big money doing it. It took him a long number of years. So.
Hey, Gary, been doing it for 5 years. You have, but the stuff that I had to unravel for you, man. Jeez.
Yeah, man, it's all that stuff. You know, there's so many voices out there, bro, isn't there? I mean, there's so many voices, and a lot of them well-known and big guys, but just, you got to have one system. All those systems, all that noise, all that mess. I mean, I was just buried under ideas and thoughts, and it doesn't always help when you're smart and creative, because, you know, you got so many ideas. Sometimes I would overcomplicate it for sure, and you just, you know, your big thing was just to help me simplify it down to what was going to work and having a focus. And man, it's just, I can't even put a value on that, because it's just so easy to get going on 15 different things. So
yeah, no doubt. So awesome. We're going to get started here. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. We'll address them when we can, but we're going to take the questions at the end of the webinar. Also, if you're all live here, but if you stay with us at the very end, number one, we have a special guest that you guys, I think, is going to inspire you, because he just Skyped me today about something that he did, which is really cool. And we're going to share that with you. And then I'm going to have a special giveaway at the very end. So stick with us. We're going to go ahead and get this blasted off. And here we go. Whoops. You guys can see my screen, right? There we go. And yes, this is being recorded. I know that's the #1 question. So, okay. This webinar is 5 steps to landing a new client with myself, Lee Nazal, and my protege, Gary McCormick. So, few house rules, guys. If we can, please turn off or silence your cell phones and alerts. You know, shut off your Facebook and all other distractions. I want you to be focused and ready to take notes, because we got a lot of content to go through. And you know, you guys are going to come out of this webinar with actionable stuff that you can use today to be able to start landing deals. So what are we going to cover? We're going to cover those 5 steps and how each step is going to help you land a client. We're going to cover some tools that you'll need to succeed. We got some case studies of some successful students, Gary included. We're going to answer any of your questions so we can help eliminate any roadblocks that you're having right now. We're going to show you how to accelerate your results. Yeah, put your questions in the chat box now if you have any. As we go, we're going to answer them, and we're going to get to them at the end. And then, like I said, we're going to have a giveaway for 1 lucky attendee here live on the call. So here's why this is important right now. You're looking for a way to generate an income online and also to be able to land your own clients more easily. Now, you need a reliable, targeted, and inexpensive way to get your name out there and do it consistently in order for you to sustain and grow your business. Okay? But here's the problem. You're not making enough income with your online ventures to be able to live that dream lifestyle that you deserve. You guys agree with that? If you agree with that, hit yes, or type in yes in the chat box. Are you making enough income? Or you're not making enough income? If you agree with that, hit yes. Now, does any of this sound like you? You look at your inbox and you have 0 messages from people who are asking you how they can sign up with you. If that sounds like you, hit yes. If you have 0 messages from people who are asking you how they can sign up. Now, does this sound like you? You might have a few clients already, but you can't seem to attract any more. Maybe you're stuck. Put yes in the chat box. And we got some yeses. Yep. Bunch of yeses coming in. Hell yes, says John. All right. Yes, yes. Good. Well, not good, but we're going to show you how to get out of that. Does this sound like you? You look at your PayPal account and it's at 0, or at a number that's too small for you to really do anything with. If that sounds like you, say yes. Angie, yep. Matt? Okay, soft. I don't know who you are, soft, but okay.
There's a Scott and a soft, and it was confusing. I kept seeing. Hey, just so you guys know, we're not putting all the comments out automatically because it's just like overwhelming. So I'm answering questions. A couple of people's questions already, Lee, I've answered that we're told them we talk about it during the Q&A at the end and
all right.
Stuff like that. But there's just all these yeses. If I publish all of them, it's just going to be like chaos in their boxes. So
yeah,
if you guys are wondering where all the yeses are, I'm just kind of keeping it to a minimum.
I see it.
So
I see it.
I'm just leaving them private so it doesn't get crazy in the box.
Right. So what this means is that even though you have big dreams, and I know you do, you're not able to get your business off the ground, and you're not even close to hitting your monthly income goals. And here's the thing, it's actually getting worse. Now, it's easier than ever to open up shop and do marketing service. Anybody can walk off the street and say they're a consultant, right, Gary?
Oh, yeah.
So you could literally just throw up a website, call yourself a company, and there are people out there who can generate just tons of traffic on demand, and there are people out there with a lot more money than you. They can outspend you in advertising, and there are people like you, Gary, who can hop on the phone and close deals, and and take that business away from you, from everybody here on the call on a regular basis.
Yeah, they're spoilers.
Boo, Gary.
Hey, I've come over to the white side. Now I'm teaching other people to do that.
All right. Well, let me ask you guys another question. Who here does not have a way to differentiate yourself from your competition, whether it's a killer sales funnel or a big ad budget, and then you get rejected because of price or you're being shopped around? Does that sound like anybody here? Poor PayPal equals poor me. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so here's a big one. Who here has tried many marketing tactics taught by the gurus and WSO vendors but hasn't gotten them to work? I know that applies to you, Gary. I know that applies to me. It did for a long time, yeah?
Amen, man. Look, hey, is it me, or didn't it always seem like there were like 8 steps, but there must have been 9 or 10? You know what I'm saying? Really, it's like the Kung Fu. They teach you up to a certain level, but then they don't teach you all the moves that you can beat them up. They like keep you short so that you can't quite get there.
Yeah, typical, Now here's a big one too, and I've been getting a lot of this. So who here is not sure which marketing strategy to focus on, and so hasn't finished implementing anything, right? So let's not go there. Okay, Kenneth, we won't. All right. So last one. No, this is not the last question. Sorry. Who here did not make the exact dollar amount they wanted to last month? Well, I have news for you. If you're not prospecting, if you're not attracting potential clients, and you're not differentiating yourself out in the marketplace, then you are absolutely screwed.
Lee, you're killing me with this picture, bro. The guy strapped to the bomb.
Well, that was me for a long time, man.
Man, that does look like your hair a little bit.
It does. I know. I don't wear the tie as much anymore, though.
Oh my gosh, it must have been you in the mortgage business for sure too.
Oh, don't even get me started. Because now, how do you expect to make your income goals if you can't get prospects to respond to you to begin with, and you can't get prospects to listen to your offer, and you can't close the deal because of price or because they're shopping you around, right? So I have a question for you. Who here does not have enough potential clients inquiring about your services? Who here is not consistently making 5 figures a month? And how long do you want to not hit your monthly income goals? How long? I mean, we're all here today. I think there's a reason we're all here today, because we don't want to wait anymore. How long do you want to keep going home to your family and telling them that you can't afford, a new house or a new car or private school or, that dream vacation? It sucks. How long do you want to keep doing that? Now, here's why you should listen to me. I am just like you guys. Okay. Now my name's been out there a little bit in recent days, but honestly, I'm just like you, because back in the day, I had, and some of you are familiar with my story, but for the people that aren't, and for everybody's benefit, I want to just go through it real quick. So back in 2001, I was in the mortgage business, like Gary said, and it really sucked totally. And I wanted to get out of it, so I did. I quit my job, but I quit my job with my son being just 1 month old. So we had no money, and we had to move back home to my mom's house, and we moved into her basement, and I couldn't get a job. And the only job I could get was delivering newspapers for the Washington Post. So, one morning I'm delivering the newspaper, and I actually get carjacked. This dude came up to my door, opened the door, took me by the wrist, and told me to get out of the car, or he'll shoot me. So I'm like, hey, take the car. But trust me, guys, when you're standing there and somebody else is driving off with your car, you're pretty much at rock bottom at that point. So he got away, but he was caught later. I got my car back, thank goodness, and I actually finished delivering the newspapers that morning. But either way, I was at rock bottom, and something had to change. Well, it turns out that my wife's aunt was a life coach, and she offered to help me. And I like to say that she completely changed my trajectory, because she helped me focus. She helped me take inventory of the things that I had to offer, and things just went up from there. So in around 2005, I sent one cold email to this fitness guru, and I said, I want to help you with your website. This is the first time I'd ever done anything like that. One cold email. He said yes. And from there, my business blew up, and now I'm a 6-figure offline consultant. And just recently, I'm hitting 5 figures a month as an internet marketer. So I get results for myself, for my clients, and my students.
Yep.
As an online marketing strategist, I've generated millions of dollars in revenue for my clients. And my clients have included authors, attorneys, restaurateurs, nonprofits, churches, an Olympic powerlifting coach, and a former professional soccer player, among others. So this has enabled me to basically travel the world, and I'm at home. I work full-time at home. I make my living online, and I know for a lot of you that this is where you're trying to go, and I want to help you get there. So Gary, you want to say a little bit about yourself too?
Yeah, I sure do. But I wanted to throw a couple things in first about you, Lee, just because I have an objective opinion somewhat, and I haven't been around for your whole experience, but just wanted to mention that Lee's son is a ridiculously good soccer player. Is he 14, Lee?
Yeah, he's 14.
So I think you just told me a few days ago, he got a spot on a premier team in Germany, a traveling team in Germany, and may end up going to live there and play in Germany. And Lee and I both live in Atlanta. He lives over towards Sugarloaf and Lawrenceville and Swanee, and I live over in the kind of Kennesaw, Marietta area on 2 different sides of Atlanta. And we talk all the time, but we only see each other maybe once or twice a month, because Lee is constantly with his family and at home. And if he's not, he's out of town traveling. I mean, it's almost silly because we live in Atlanta, and it's relatively hard to get with you, bro, because you're just, I mean, he does coaching with me mostly over Skype and stuff like that. And man, I just wanted to mention that, because I know, and you're just such a family guy, bro. I mean, I've known a lot of people in this business and have been in business, owned multiple companies myself. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that was so good at making their wife and their kids a priority, bro. That's something that's really impressed me about you, man, your character and stuff like that. It's just, I mean, really beyond reproach, bro. I have so many friends that own businesses and, make all kinds of money, but not only do you live and spend it well, but you're just such a family guy, man. Your priorities so straight.
Appreciate that.
And that's why I'm attracted to you, because, you know, we've gotten to know each other, and you know that I'm the same way. I've family and kids. My kids are grown. They're 23 and 25. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, but I've lived here in Atlanta now for 23 years. Well, I've lived here. I was the manager of the largest security system company in Atlanta, almost right out of college. Of course, I was the sales manager first, and we had 10,000 people that were, monitored by our security system company. And then they got bought out by ADT, the biggest in the business, and they cut my salary in half. So that was my first experience with trust in corporate, after I pulled the knife out of my back. And and then, like a ding dong, I did what you did, and I got in the mortgage business. And same thing there. I was top 7 out of 700 within 30 days. They made me sales manager. They made me VP. I ran 18 loan officers and 3 processors here in Atlanta until the late 90s. And same thing, I didn't get out as early as you did, but not too long after. And it was just so corrupt, and the loans with no income docs, and it was just insanity. Oh, yeah. I mean, being on the inside.
I like to say that I'm directly responsible for that recession.
Oh yeah, dude. Between you and I think we had the whole shift covered.
That's right.
And then again, like a ding dong, I got out of that business and I became a builder and a contractor, a GC, and so I've been doing that since 2000, and have built a couple of few companies now in construction. Most of them doing $7-10 million a year. And I'm just burnt out. I mean, you know my story better than anyone, because you've let me cry on your shoulder that I'm just so sick of dealing with folks, you know, at that low blue collar level, you know, having crew chiefs that, you know, don't show up for work or have, you know, all kinds of drama. And the people that are doing construction, like, they can't, you know, they're great people. There's a lot of things I like about them. They're craftsmen and they're physically capable, but there's a reason they're doing that, and they don't have a white collar job. You know, they don't do good with the 9-to-5 thing. And I mean, it's just got me stressed out over, you know, X number of years. And finally, I had to look at my wife and say, you know, man, we want to be locationally free like you are. You know, we want to be able to spend time with our grandkids. We may have grandkids in the next 5 years. And I just didn't see myself scaling the construction business, even though I was really good at it. And I just feel like this business, the offline business, is as hard as it's been for me to get going, is as much work as it is in the beginning. You know, I feel like you've helped me get over the hump, and it's just been so much smoother since. And I'm really feel very good now about scaling and kind of doing what you've done. And Renee and I are we're on the borderline of being able to have people sell for us around the country for some of the products that we're repping. Nice. And you know, I've picked up, as you know, because, you know, you've coached me through it, picked up a lot of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month clients in the last few months.
Yep.
We're on the verge again of a couple of products kind of our own that are going to be services to local businesses that we'll be able to actually be like the wholesaler on, and put our own sales force together. And you know, I love to sell.
Yeah.
And so, man, it's just incredible, man. I just,
hey,
you know, where I'm at today from 6 months or a year ago is just like up on Everest.
You know what's cool? Tell everybody, like, briefly in 30 seconds, tell them about the Goldie Hawn thing.
Oh my God. Yeah. One of the clients that Lee helped me land is it's like a Facebook for positive thinking. And so they've spent hundreds of $1,000s in 4 years building a website like Facebook to go on and put all your positive thoughts. It's very like a Universal Unitarian Church kind of feel, you know, I'm okay, you're okay, kind of independent, you know, it's spiritual, but it's not Christian or Jewish. It's like an independent kind of a, you know, spirituality. And they're super, super nice people, but they want to get that into schools, because they feel like kids really need some help as far as goal setting and optimism and learning to visualize, you know, all these things really that are a part of our mindset, Lee, that you and I riff on all the time, and sales training. And we found the Hawn Foundation. The Hawn Foundation is in Miami. Goldie Hawn, of course, is the person who put the money up front. And they're in 373,000 middle schools and elementary schools with a program called Mind Up. And it's workbooks, and the kids do them in homeroom, and then they do them in the after-school program if they're in it. But it's all in workbooks, and they wanted a way to do it online that was safe for the kids, and that they could like interact with each other and, you know, post their goals and things like that, because there's no way to really track with the workbook. And so our product looked like a good fit. And so I was just in Miami maybe a week or two ago for a few days. The owner of the company put me up at the Fontainebleau. It was like $1,000 a night for a few nights. And we met with them, and if we can sign our deal with them, it'll be worth about $3 million of recurring revenue every year.
How about that?
And
Good job.
yeah, man, it's just crazy. It'll probably take us a few months to a year to finalize the deal for like the following school year, not this one, but man, good stuff. And that customer is just so happy. And, you know, it makes me giggle a little bit because, you know, we're always looking for attorneys, plastic surgeons.
Right.
You know, you and I know the list. There's like 10 or 15 particular people that are a little bit easier and juicier.
Right.
But you never think about those people that fall between the cracks, you know, that are like producing a product with 10 employees and selling it, and they don't have any online, or they're putting programs or books together and they're not selling it online, or they have no email system, you know, no invisible selling machine to sell with email. And it's just, and you would never, there's not even a way to categorize a client like that client. Like I couldn't have looked for him if I tried. They're like just so weird and in the shadow. But man, the emailing thing, it really, and we can get to that more obviously in the program, but it's amazing how if you start to get into those little niches that nobody knows about, I mean, it's just barren. There's nobody, you know, it isn't like they're getting calls from India every day wanting to know if they need help with their SEO, you know, or
right.
they, you know, that whole, I mean, people are just so over that, bro, that it's like banner blindness. I mean, when the people that work for Renee and I, when they call and they say that, I mean, it's just instant shutdown. But the people we're talking about now, like United Intentions, like they're not on anybody's map. And if you can figure out how to get to them the way you dig for your leads, man, it's, you know, it's like the gold rush at those little niches like that.
Yep. Awesome, Gary. So, you know, this is how I did it and also how Gary did it. I'm going to go over the exact 5-step formula that built a consulting business, allows me the freedom to work anywhere in the world, play anywhere in the world, spend all my time with my family every day, not just nights and weekends, because, you know, when you're in that 9-to-5 grind, you only see your family for a few hours a week, you know, and I know you guys, everybody on here wouldn't mind spending more time with their own families. So my objective is to help you guys do that. Okay, I want the same for you. So we're going to go over the 5 steps now, but the number one step, and this is so crucial and so critical. Now, you know, I sent an email and I asked you guys what was holding you back. And, you know, like I said in some videos before, you know, the response is overwhelming. And I learned a lot about you guys. But one of the biggest themes I got has to do with step 1. And step 1 is mindset. And I want Gary, if you wouldn't mind talking about the mindset a little bit.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, I was just telling Lee, a friend of mine had a Facebook page and he wanted to take a trip to go to Vietnam and go see Jordan Belfort from Oakmont, from Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan Belfort's doing a 3 to 5 day sales training. And conveniently, he's kind of out of trouble here in the U.S. You know, he got in a lot of trouble way back when, and he's kind of on a watch list, I think. But he's doing all his presentations in Vietnam and Brazil and all these other countries, which is kind of interesting. And my buddy wanted to know if I thought he should go to the training, and I'm like, man, he's a friend of Lee and I's that we've met. That he's a 17-year-old guy making $200,000 or more a year. And I'm like, man, you got $5,000. You have no expenses. I mean, you know, you're in the catbird seat. To spend $5,000 to go see Jordan Belfort for 3 to 5 days in Vietnam, get on the plane, man. Anyways, I watched the video because it was on his Facebook and I wanted to encourage him. And man, Jordan Belfort's just too cool. He's a trip, man. So if you guys go out there and Google Jordan Belfort, and it's about a 20 or 30-minute sales video, but he basically does a David Letterman style presentation, but with just only 3 points. And he basically says the third biggest thing that's screwing it up for you if you're a business owner is that you are just overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed with the details. For us in marketing, we would say that that's shiny object syndrome. You know, just you get so disorientated with everything going on. And just even as a business owner, the people that we serve, you know, you get so wrapped up in having the business card just right and having the right shop and the furniture and, you know, all the different things that are part of doing business. And at the end of the day, a lot of those things really don't change anything in most cases. He said the number 2 thing was the why. And that was because if you don't know what you're doing this for, you know, if it's for your wife and kids to travel, if it's to retire because in your 50s and you don't have enough money saved, if it's because you like to donate and do things to help other people, and, you know, you got to be blessed to be a blessing. If you don't have enough money coming in, somebody needs help with their mortgage, a friend of yours, they're out of work, you can't do anything for them because you don't have the wherewithal. And so his number 2 item going backwards was why. You know, what are you doing here? Because it may not take a week, it may take a month or 6 months or a year to make it, and it's going to take a lot of work that first lap or two. And once you do it and you do it right and you create a system, well, then it gets easier. But you got to be able to hang tough for that first, you know, few laps. And if you got your why straight, you know, Jordan in his pitch is saying that's number 2. But number 1, of course, is sales and marketing lead. At the end of the day, businesses fail because they don't have sales and marketing, and that's what we're here to help them with. So there's a lot. I think there was a lot in that when you and I talked about that the other day. There's a lot in that kind of leads into this whole mindset thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, everything you say is spot on, everything that Jordan said. And so there's a couple of points I wanted to touch on too with regard to mindset. That first thing is process versus outcome. Now, you know, people ask me, you know, a lot of what if questions. You know, what if I send these emails and this happens? Or what if they actually say yes, God forbid? And what do I do next? You know? But here's the thing, people are losing focus a little bit. What I mean by process versus outcome is that when you're working a system, and a system that is proven to work, what you need to do is really just focus on the process of the steps laid out in front of you. You shouldn't be really too concerned with the outcome. So for example, if I'm sending 100 emails, right, and I know the process for writing the email, and you know, I go through that, but then I don't want to send it because what if this and what if that? If you're wondering about the what ifs, you're too focused on the outcome, as opposed to, you know, if you're working the process and you just do the steps, you're going to learn how to do them properly, and then you're going to get feedback from what you've done, and then you can change course if you need to, or if you're successful, you can do more of it, okay? But you need to focus more on that process as opposed to the outcome. Now, Gary, you brought up my son.
Yeah.
My son's a soccer player, and you know, he was having problems with shooting because, and this is not unique to him, of course. A lot of kids, when they shoot the ball, of course they want it to go in the goal. But what tends to happen is when they shoot, they're so worried about the outcome, which is going into the goal, that they, you know, that they manipulate their feet or they manipulate their technique in order to get the ball in the goal by any means necessary. But there's actually, you know, there's a certain technique that you need to follow when you're shooting a ball. You know, your ankle has to be locked, your toe has to be pointed down, your knee has to be over the ball, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're focused on that process and you're doing the process, it's going to be uncomfortable at first, just like with emailing. It's going to be really uncomfortable because you don't know, you know, you've never done this before. So with shooting the ball, it's going to be really uncomfortable. It's not going to go anywhere. Or if you've ever golfed, you know that's a very technical thing with the coordinating the swing and everything. So you hit the ball off the tee and it only goes like 10 yards in front of you. But eventually, if you keep focusing on the technique and you perfect the technique, you perfect the process, whether it's emailing, whether it's shooting a ball, whether it's hitting the ball off the tee, eventually you're going to do so well at it that the outcome is pretty much a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to manipulate the process in order to get to the outcome. You have to follow the process so you can get the outcome more consistently. Does that make sense, Gary?
Oh yeah, man. Every time you talk about this with me, I always tell you it reminds me of Mr. Miyagi. You know, in the Karate Kid, like, you know, he knows the Karate Kid's going to overthink it and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So he just wants him to do wax on, wax off and, you know, paint up and paint down. And he's getting so frustrated. And here Miyagi's trying to get him just doing the move right. You know, if he'll just go with it.
So, yeah, that's exactly it. So, you know, the takeaway here is we have a system that works. And, you know, there are other systems out there that work. But whether you're following my system or somebody else's system, you really just have to follow the process that goes along with it. And, you know, perfect your technique with that because the outcome will follow, even if the outcome doesn't come at first. Okay? So then the next thing I want to touch on is the BS story. And, you know, there's a quote, and I don't know the quote exactly, but basically it's along the lines of, you know, people are so in love with their own BS story that they'll do anything to continue to tell it. In other words, you know, people have their own excuses. They have their own story as to why they're not successful, you know, why something hasn't worked, why, you know, why I'm in the position I'm in right now as opposed to, you know, where I should be. And the thing is, people don't realize that they're so in love with that story that they love to tell it. They love to tell it to themselves and they love to tell it to other people, that that story is basically enabling them to fail and to stay where they are because they love telling the story. So as long as you're in love with your own story, with the BS story that you keep telling yourself, whatever it is, whether it's, you know, I need to do more research, I need to, you know, figure out this step or that step, I need to, I don't even know, I need to buy something, I need to buy 3 things, you know, before I'm successful. As soon as I buy this, I'm going to make it. Okay? As long as you're in love with that mindset and that BS story, you're never going to make it. Because that's your crutch. You're allowing yourself to believe your own story, and that very story is holding you back. So once you realize what it is that you're telling yourself in that story, then you can move on. You can address it, you know, be aware of it, and then move on from it. Which brings me to the back to fine. Okay? Now, you know, this is along the same lines, but what happens is, you know, you guys are going through your marketing, you know, you're trying to do different things. You buy WSO and you do the steps, and it doesn't work, and you tell yourself, it's fine. You know, I don't need to make any changes because what I'm doing is fine. You know, I'll just continue to try to find the next thing. You know, and you'll buy more software, you'll buy another course, but, you know, basically you're stuck in this cycle. But because that's the comfort zone that you're in, it's fine. And then when somebody comes along that says, okay, you have to do it differently. You know, here's a course that is going to teach you how to do it differently. And if you just follow the steps, it's going to change your life. But people are so afraid, because they're in their comfort zone, people are so afraid to take that leap, to continue to follow that step, to take that next step. They're so afraid of that they just want to go back to fine. That's where they're comfortable. So what I'm telling you guys is, you cannot be fine with fine. You cannot allow yourself to retreat back to being fine. You have to burn your boat to be able to move forward. You have to be so uncomfortable with your comfort zone that you have no choice but to move forward. You have to push yourself forward. Am I making sense, Gary?
Oh yeah, man.
So that's all I have to say about that. And then we talked about the why.
Yeah.
So, you know, with mindset is so huge, guys. You know, I cannot overemphasize this enough, and we can't talk about it enough. You know, I'm not going to harp on this all day, but you know, that's the feedback I get when I emailed you guys, and you know, it's something that I've known anyway. I know that it's mindset that's holding everybody back.
Yeah.
And you know, until you find a way to overcome that, it doesn't matter. You know, if I have the greatest system in the world for being able to close clients or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter if I have 100% success rate with closing clients. If your mindset's not there, it doesn't matter. You'll find a way to screw it up.
Yeah, that's the truth. I was just going to say, Lee, you know, the other thing is this is a really big deal, man. I know you know better than anyone, and I mean, you've helped me so much with this. It reminds me of tennis, that if you swing, you know, your practice, and not only do you need to practice, which is what we're talking about, you know, getting it right, the basics first, but the other thing is you don't want to practice wrong. And that's some of what happens with all this overwhelm and 15 different people telling you how to do it. You got to have one set of marching orders, one process. And what happens is when you work at, like when you started working with me, you would show me something and I would just do exactly what you said for a month. and then I would see a big payoff. Well, if I hadn't have just done that, it would have been another failure in the list, right? But because I did exactly what you said for a month, and because it paid off, the next time that I went to you and you said, no, don't do that, do this instead, I had a lot more trust and confidence in you, in our relationship, and you as a coach to coach me, but also I had more confidence in myself. So when you gave me the next thing to do, it was the next step. It was bigger, it was a little harder. You know, it's like getting the leads is not hard. You just have to get in the leads and email. And, you know, the basics are very basic and easy. Everyone on this call can do it. But you have to win those battles in week 1 and week 2 and month 1, so that in month 1 and month 2 and month 3, when you have to start closing these people, you're a different person. You know, you're a different person when you show up and you start closing people and doing takeaways and doing your moves, because you've got a certain foundation underneath your house that, hey, I got this thing. You know, I know how to do this. I know. And you know what? If this guy doesn't buy from me, I'm just going to email another 1,000 people next week and get 10 or 20 more deals going. He doesn't own me. He doesn't control me. And that puts you in a position then to do what you need to do in the rest of the process, to move from power and to have some control over it, and to be able to take it away from them that they want to take it from you. But you can't do that if you got one little lead. You know, and you got one little lead and that's all you got. I mean, so you got to do these hard things on the front end and stay focused and keep your mind right, so that as you go through the process, you can be at the right place in the right position to bring home the bacon.
Now, I got something else to say before we move on. Now, I want to address the shiny object thing. You know, I understand that people, you know, are overwhelmed with the marketing messages. If you're here with me today, it's because, you know, you've received a marketing message from me, and it's also almost 100% guaranteed that you're on somebody else's list and you're getting marketing messages from them. Okay. Now, shiny object syndrome. The problem with that, obviously, other than the lack of focus, is that, you know, if somebody presents something and it sounds so good that you need to hop on it, and then you try it, or you don't try it, maybe you just buy it and then you hop onto something else. Now, if you're focused, okay, if you decide for yourself, okay, I want to do offline consulting and I want to be successful with it, and this is the direction I want to go. Great. That's a great first step. So what's going to happen then is, if you decide that today, right now, and you get marketing messages tomorrow about all kinds of different stuff, if you know your objective, then it should not distract you from your objective. In other words, if you get an email tomorrow, let's say today you decide you want to be a local marketing consultant and you want to do everything it takes to be able to be successful with it. And tomorrow you get an email saying, get rich with Shopify, which is what's going on right now. That's the message I'm seeing today. Now, if you're committed and you're focused, that message should not even resonate. However, you may also get another message that says, you know, be able to fulfill local marketing services. Well, that might be part of your objective, and that's something might be valuable to you, you know? So it's basically, it's pieces of a puzzle that you're putting together so that when you're focused and when you know what you want to do and you have your objective, it's like having a business plan. If something fits within that business plan, then it's worth looking at, and it's not necessarily a shiny object thing. It's, you know, trying the tools and the different methods to get you to an ultimate goal. Whereas if you're doing the shiny object thing, then everything is in your business plan. You know, affiliate marketing, eBay, Amazon, CPA, okay, all that stuff. Then all that stuff distracts you. So the point is, you know, you need to decide and you need to focus on what it is you want to do. If you don't want to do offline consulting, that's fine, okay? This probably isn't the place for you right now. and I'm okay with that. But you need to find it, whatever it is. Okay? So, with that out of the way, I want to get to step 2, which is something else that you guys have been telling me, is that you have a hard time compiling leads or finding them. Okay? So I want to go ahead and give you a couple of sources that hopefully will put that to rest. So, how do you compile leads? You can do it with search. In the quick start guide in my lock and load course, and also in the auto prospecting system, I give you guys some search strings that you can use in Google, so you can sort of hack it a little bit and use some advanced search techniques to be able to extract email addresses from search. Okay, so you can use that. You can scrape. There's any number of software out there that can scrape leads from any number of sources. And basically, it's the same thing as, if you do it manually, except it just automates it with software. There are list providers out there. Okay, you can buy mailing lists, which I don't recommend, especially for email, but they're out there. And there are also directories, business directories, like InfoFree, places like that. Okay, they're either compiled, or maybe they purchased something like a subscription to Entrepreneur Magazine or something like that, and those things can be bought. Actually, that's probably more list providers. But in any case, you can buy leads. Okay, now when you do the leads, when you're compiling leads, what do you get? What are you supposed to get? You need the first and last name of the decision maker. We don't always know who the decision maker is going to be, so sometimes you just got to go with what you have. Okay, but ideally you want the decision maker, of course. You want the email address, obviously, because that's what we do. That's what we do here. You want the company name. You want their phone number. Now, it's not absolutely necessary to get the phone number, but if you want to be the most effective, if you want to have the most effective sales process possible, you'll want to email people, and you'll also want to incorporate calling them as well. You want their website. Now, the templates that I've given in lock and load, some of them address, I've seen your website and it looks good, but such and such. So you'll want the website so you can address that, or you want the website because you need to get on their website so that you can find something that you can use, that you can reference, so that you can contact them, which is what I call the hook. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about it. I think I'm going to talk about that a little later anyway, but let me touch on this real quick. So what the hook is something personal that will allow you to basically get in the door with the prospect that you're emailing. So it might be a blog that they wrote. It might be a social media post they made. It might be a third-party article about them, like in the New York Times or something, or it might be a YouTube video. But when you have a hook, then you can reference that and say, hey, I read your blog on your website, and I really resonated with it, and I wanted to reach out to you. That is 1,000,000 times more effective than, hey, do you want #1 rankings on Google? Okay. Now,
Hey, Lee.
Yeah,
I was just going to throw in, because obviously I'm doing this all the time on my end, and one of my things is we're looking through, as Renee and I and our team are, trolling for leads and gathering different stuff. Inevitably, you end up finding them a lot of times on Google Plus, or you find them looking up on Facebook with different scrapers, and a lot of times there's just errors, meaning like their Facebook page doesn't have a link to their website, or their website doesn't have their phone number anywhere on it. And so when I'm writing these emails, I'll just, use the email templates that you've put together, and then I'll just stick in an extra line, or even just a PS saying, hey, by the way, your video on your site's not working, something's broken in your flash, or whatever, your video person can probably handle it for you, but if not, whatever.
Right.
And I don't do anything to pitch them. But clearly, if they got nobody that can fix that, who are they going to call, bro?
Right on.
So I think that's a big part of getting the 60% plus. Now, what you're saying is good, and you can look up the blogs, but I just found that doing that kind of thing, it's like in the natural flow of things, where when I was doing the blog or looking for, it made me have to kind of go out of my way and read about them, where, man, it's amazing how when you start looking for boo-boos, between all their, their different pages and their website, I mean, there's just boo-boos freaking everywhere like little mines.
Right.
And you just throw them. And the fact that you don't jump on it and talk negative or try and sell them something, boom, you're immediately sticking out. You're not the ding-dong from India selling SEO.
Exactly. No offense to anybody from India, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course not. We have a bunch of good folks from India.
That's just how it goes.
Well, that's what everybody just assumes on the phone, because the English isn't good for the people calling them on the phone sometimes.
Yeah, right. So, fair warning. Whatever source you use, not all of them have all the information you need. So that means you may need to compile leads from several different sources, okay? You may need to cross-reference the sources to match the information, okay? So maybe you have their address and phone number, but you don't have a name or an email address. Then you're gonna have to dig a little deeper so you can cross-reference and match those things up from different sources so you have a complete lead. Okay. Now, the other thing is many sources have bad emails, and that's going to increase your bounce rate. And when your bounce rate is high, then you're going to be tagged as a spammer. Your inboxing rate is going to plummet. Okay. So you need to do as good a job as you possibly, can to get as good an information as you possibly can. Now, with that said, no source is 100% accurate, and no source is going to have 100% fresh leads or working leads, working emails, working phone numbers, all that kind of thing. So you need to know that ahead of time. No source is 100%. So when you send emails, some are going to bounce, some are going to go to the wrong person, some are going to sometimes people keep the same email, but they've changed professions, they've changed jobs or companies. So, be aware of that when you're emailing. But when you're able to compile leads correctly, just one prospect can be worth upwards of $2,400 or more, okay? Because you can close these kinds of deals left and right when you have the right leads, when you can give them the right message, and you can give them the right service. Now, one of my favorite sources to get leads is manta.com. And the way you get leads from there, you can do it manually. Go to manta.com, go to the category of the niche, the vertical, the industry that you're looking for, and just drill down until you find the right leads that you want to email to. You can outsource. And I found a guy on Elance who worked for $3 an hour, I think it was. And he got me up to 1,200 leads a day from Manta. And I don't know exactly what he did or how he got them, but every time, every day, in my inbox was a spreadsheet of 1,200 new leads from Manta, and it was insane. I don't work with them anymore, but they're out there. And it's not just Elance, but some of these guys have their own special techniques or their own special ways to compile these leads. So you can look out for them. Now here's a piece of software. I'm not an affiliate. I don't make any money from this. But if you go to this website here, these guys sell a Mantis scraper specifically just for Manta. Now, a word about scrapers is that they're not always going to get all the information either. Okay, you might run the software and maybe you get 100. It finds 100 leads for you, but then only 20 or 30 of them have an email address. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And the other thing to keep in mind is when you're scraping, especially at a high volume, you're going to need proxies or I said VPS. Should it be VPN? You need a VPN or a proxy to be able to Yeah, to let the scraper run basically, you know, all day, every day, and get all the leads that you need. Okay. Here's another good source: trade association directories. And this is something that not a lot of people teach, but this is where I've gotten some of my best leads from. So many industries have trade associations. And you know, these people are members of some kind of trade association, and there's a membership to it. And a lot of these websites of these trade associations, you can search their directories. So if you want to find a trade association, you can go to this website here. And you know, I'm going to send this all these URLs through email. I think I'll give these to you guys. But this directory here, this is like the directory of directories. So you can drill down to any vertical that they have there, and you can get leads from. They list all the different websites of the different trade associations. So as an example, if you're looking for travel agents, this one website, this is one of their trade associations, NACTA. And if you go to their website, there is a search feature where you can find, using a variety of criteria, any travel agent that's signed up with this association. So if you guys actually go there, you can drill down, you can run a search, and then you can click on people's names, and they're going to give you all the information that you're looking for: their names, website, email address, everything. Some of them even have pictures. Okay, so this is something that you can use a VA to compile the leads. You can do it yourself, but between the trade association directories and Manta, that should be plenty for you guys to be able to find all the leads that you want in any niche. Okay.
Well, and the big thing, Lee, for me was when we use these, the accuracy is ridiculously good.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing is 100% because people, you know, 1% of people change their phone number address every 3-6 months or something. But I mean, it's like 95 to 99% or better. And you have to be careful with that stuff, because when you're running these emails and you're running them through the different services, you know, if you're doing Gmail and Google, it's a little forgiving. But if you're running it through any other kind of email service, if you start having a problem with deliverability or anything, I mean, you just end up getting in trouble with them or shut down real fast. And even Google and Gmail, you can only, you know, they say 450 a day, but it's more like 200. And with this, you can just get a couple of accounts going. And I've been fielding a bunch of questions, by the way, while you've been talking, and a lot of them are asking questions about the lists and some of this stuff. And what I'm saying to them, Lee, is that, you know, because, you know, I have a partner that, you know, has 400 million leads, and we get leads from him all the time. But the problem is, by the time you buy them and scrub them and clean them and check them for bounces and do everything, it's so much freaking work, and you get like a 0.5% response rate.
Yeah.
But you take these kind of leads, and I mean, we're banging out 40 to 60%, you know, response all day long. The key is to do it slow like the tortoise. And if you want to sub it out, you sub out the gathering of the leads. But in the beginning, you got to do this yourself, because you can't teach anybody else or make an instructional video. I mean, I couldn't teach Renee to do it until I could do it. So I had to do it. Then I could teach Renee to do it. And now she teaches our other people to do it. And then you can delegate as you grow. But you got to just figure out how to do this. And this is one of those cases where for sure the tortoise wins the race.
Right.
You just want to plod along like you've been preaching on the process, and just focus on the good stuff. These are good leads. Do it right, and focus on making a really good offer in that email. You know, really good offer, differentiate yourself. And you got, because people keep asking about stuff that's spammy. And I'm telling them in the questions, Lee, they don't want to do that, man. It's just too much hassle.
Right. Yeah, people want to scale too fast, too quickly. And in this method, it works much better if you do it slowly and if you do it right. So again, it's the process versus the outcome. The outcome you want is, you know, you want $1 million tomorrow, right? But you need to go through the process first. You need to learn it. You need, you know, get the technique down. And this is it. And that's a good point, Gary, is that these trade association directories tend to be a little more accurate than normal because these people, these professionals have signed up and registered with whatever the association is. And they're the ones that give the information as opposed to, being scraped from some government source or something.
Well, the other thing too, Lee, is when you talk to, and you know this better than me, what's really cool is you can talk to these people and tell them it's where you got their name.
Right.
And they immediately say, man, this person is pretty smart.
Exactly. You have
They didn't crawl me off Google. They went to the association and, man, I'm the one that put my info there. So you just like pulled the poison. You declawed them. They can't be all bitchy to you when they put their info out there.
You got it. That's the best point of all is that you borrow the trade association's credibility when you contact the prospect. So you call a travel agent or you email them and say, hey, I got your name from NACTA. Well, okay, maybe I should listen. So that's going to get your foot in the door a lot better than what you said, Gary. I scraped your ass on Google. So there you have it, guys. So there's a couple of ways, couple of sources that you can get leads from. Hopefully you wrote this down because I'm about to move on. Now, I want to touch a little bit on crafting and sending message, which is step 3. Okay. My philosophy on crafting and sending an email message is, again, your number one objective is to start a conversation. You're not trying to sell on that first email. Okay. So what are the components of a good email? Number one is the subject line. So your subject line, you want it to pique their curiosity, or you want it to be personalized, or you want to ask them a question. Okay, those are some guidelines for the subject line. Now, there are a million subject lines that can work. Okay, and I'm not saying this is the be-all, end-all, but in my experience, what I found, if the subject line hits any of these 3, then more often than not, it's a winner. Now, there's a 3-step formula for crafting the actual message. Number 1 is the hook, which I touched on earlier. Okay, you want an in, you want a foot in the door. The hook can be, I found your name from NACTA or whatever trade association. Simple as that. Or, I found your, like Gary said, I found a mistake on your website. Just thought I should let you know, so you might want to fix it. Or, I read something. I'll give you an example too. David, one of my students, he found some YouTube video or something. I forget exactly what, but he found some video that was talking about a pest control company. And he emailed that pest control company and referenced that video. And he got in and he found out that that pest control company is actually much bigger than he originally planned, he originally thought, and he ended up closing that deal. It ended up being a big deal. So when you have a good hook, you get that foot in the door, you're ahead of 99% of the people because everybody else is trying to sell them on that first email. Okay, you do it differently and you do it right, and you do it to start a dialogue with them. It doesn't. You're not put in the same group as get yourself number 1 on Google. Okay. Now, the next step in crafting a message is the value proposition. What is it that you can bring to them? Okay. So if you have some kind of result, like we're able to, we work with chiropractors and we've been able to double their patient load within 90 days or something like that. Okay. What is it that you can do for them? Why would their lives, why would their businesses be better with you in it? That's the value you bring to them, to their business. Okay. And if you can convey that, and you convey that in a way that's not, spammy or salesy or, something like that, then you have a really good chance of getting a response. And then the call to action. Typically, I tell people that the call to action should be, like a reply to the email or a phone call. when do you have time in your calendar to, for 15 minutes to discuss this? That kind of thing. You don't want the call to action to be, click here now because we only have, this discount's only going to last for the next 3 days. Okay? You don't want to scare them with a call to action, and you also only want one call to action. Okay? You don't want to send them to an article about how Mobilegeddon's going to happen in 2 weeks. So you send them to an article, and then you send them to another article with all these statistics about how mobile is the next generation of SEO. And then your third call to action would be, click on this link and sign up for my webinar. You only want one call to action. And, I don't think I said this. No, I don't have a slide for this, but you also want your message no more than 3 to 5 sentences. Real short, real sweet, to the point. Okay? Oh, and it looks like I have a different slide for each one. Okay? I already went through this.
Yeah. That's good. You're over prepared, Lee.
I guess so.
I like that.
Another warning. How you craft your email determines whether your campaign is successful. So like I said, if you follow that 3-step formula, then you're good to go. But if you go in there with, a long form sales letter that Dan Kennedy wrote, you may not do as well. If you craft the message incorrectly, you will not succeed, or worse, you'll be labeled as a spammer. Do not spam. I don't need to say any more about that. And, your response rates are going to vary depending on how well you execute 3 steps. Okay? So, what is the secret to the high response rates? Because you guys have seen, and I've told you that I've gotten response rates over 60%. And actually, it's over 97%. 97% of the people who opened my message responded to me in one campaign. That's unheard of. Okay? But what's the secret to that? There's 2 secrets. Number 1, personalization. I was talking about the hook. You want the message to be as personalized as possible to the prospect. And number 2, follow up. You must follow up. Minimum 4 times. Okay? 4 to 7 times is what I recommend. The fortune is in the follow-up. Okay? So this is how you follow up. This is the proper way to do it. You're going to send your emails. Your first touch is what I call it. Now, some people are going to respond. Most are not. So you only follow up with those who did not respond to your first message. Then on subsequent follow-ups, you only follow up with those who have yet to respond. So as soon as they respond, they're taken out of your follow-up sequence. So you don't send them follow-up emails. You just kind of deal with your conversation. Okay? But if they haven't responded at all, then you can follow up with them. Now, you can hire a copywriter that specializes in emails to do this for you. I've seen, I've been in the industry a long time, and I've seen these people, and they're good. They're good at what they do. One of the top guys charges $1,500 for 3 messages, $3,500 for 7 messages, and $5,000 for 10 messages. Okay, so it's a high stakes game, this emailing thing. So it can get really expensive to hire a copywriter, or you can learn to do it yourself. Now, the next step in the 5-step process is to seal the deal. So Gary, if you wouldn't mind talking more about that.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm always glad to talk about selling, Lee. You know that. Question is, can you shut me up? Hey,
I need to, bro.
Hey, as a quick side note, man. Hey, that copywriting thing, that's cool. Colin Thoreau is here in Atlanta and Roswell, and you and I both know him, and he's big money like that. He's one of the best guys I know. But it's cool as long as you have a customer that needs that, because we've had customers that need that. And it's not a problem at all to pay somebody $1,500, $3,500, and $5,000, and then double the price for your client. That's pretty sweet. But your point is well taken. We can't afford to pay that to go get the client.
Yeah.
We're going to have a hell of a time going positive on that. That's not going to be good. anyways, all that to get into the deal. I'm gonna step back real briefly, but I'll try and make it quick. To state of mind. So like at the very beginning of this whole present, we were talking state of mind, and I can't talk about sealing a deal or closing without it, because at the end of the day, the greatest thing, the greatest skill that I think I have that makes me a good seller and closer is that I have the ability, and I think everyone on this call can have the ability, but it's like a muscle that you have to exercise. And I call it like it is. It's a like it is muscle. You have to be able to project out and see yourself, visualize yourself closing the deal, doing the thing. And then you have to operate like it's as good as done. And all of a sudden, something magical happens where when you're picking language to do copywriting, or you're speaking to someone on the phone, you pick the right words. You pick the words that imply that it's done. Hey, when we do this, hey, when we do that, can you imagine what it's going to be like once we've done this? And maybe dude on the other end or the gal is saying, well, what do you, a few of them I'm sure are saying, well, what do you mean I haven't signed yet? But most of them don't even catch it. They just kind of go on down the road, because at the end of the day, if I'm the one closing, I'm the one writing the book. You know what I'm saying? That's when we're closing, when we're talking to people. So I think, some of this is you got to, exercise the muscle in your mind to change, to allow yourself to change things that it's like it is, and kind of learn to get in that and stay in that. Now, I don't live my whole life in that mindset, although I probably live a lot of it in that mindset, but I especially get in that mindset when it's time to do follow-up calls. Now, when you're on the initial call, when you're doing, the marketing, the day-to-day, you don't need to be in that mindset necessarily, although it surely doesn't hurt at all. It really allows you to be in a better mindset for everything. But for sure, when you're going to try and get on the phone and close a deal. The other thing is that throughout the whole process, I'm always looking for little yeses. You're always looking to get little yeses when they read your email. You're looking to get little yeses when you're talking to them on the phone the first time, even if you don't feel like they're ready to close, or there's some objection you can't handle. You don't give up. You just get little yeses, and it's like a game. It's like shooting, little metal Cupid dolls at the fair to get the prize. You just keep hammering away on those little yeses, because you don't know if they're going to pop or if they're not going to pop and say yes. So you just keep hitting them with those little yeses. Can you see this? How do you feel about that? Do you like this? And just keep asking them things to get them yes, and then get more and more advanced as you go towards the close. And that's just a general progression that you're going to follow whether they close today or not. It's just kind of standard process. And the other thing is that, we're talking about, Lee, all these services. The smart service that you sell with our system, with your system, is a toe in the door service. So a big part of this is to make the service unique, to make the service simple, and to make, simple to explain, simple to fulfill. And it's just a beginning. It's just a chance to kind of show that you can perform, to show that you can underpromise and overperform, to show that you can deliver on time. And if you keep it simple like that, and you don't, that's the one problem with selling SEO on the front end, although there are some ways to do it, you and I know, but it's a trickier thing to sell on the front end sometimes because it can get complicated. Where there are other things that are very, very easy to sell on the front end because they don't have a lot of moving parts. There's only so many things they can question or object to. And so there's a lot of, wisdom in using those services as a toe in the door. And then when it comes time to close, you just give them two choices. Do you want to do it? Do you want us to post to two of your pages a day or 4? Do you want the silver, the bronze, or the gold? Again and again, when all of us on this call, when you think back to the last thing you bought, you were given a choice of A or B or C, and that was intentional. We see that all the time everywhere at the grocery store. So a big part of closing a deal is this setup, these different pieces that you can think about in advance and put in place as a strategy. Because when you get there and you ask them, you want 5 keywords or 10 keywords SEO, or how quick do you want to rank? Do you want to rank in 90 days or in 180 days? Because 180 days is only going to cost half as much. And when they go, oh, no, I'll pay the money to rank in 90 days. Well, they just bought, right, Lee? When they pick silver or gold, they just bought, right?
Yep.
So, it isn't like you have to get all complicated with them. We overcomplicate it. And then I'd say maybe kind of towards the end, something to consider. My favorite takeaway, and my favorite takeaway because I just beat it like a big drum, is the takeaway, right? Lee laughs at me all the time with my freaking takeaway. That is like the most powerful, it's like anti-gravity or something. It's just incredible when you learn to use the takeaway. And there's some real advanced NLP stuff that you can do, neuro-linguistic programming, some really cool things to set that up. But I'll tell you, where everyone on this call, you see scarcity every day. You see scarcity. Got to do it now. Got to do it in this time frame. There's a lot of reasons for that scarcity. A lot of them are legitimate. That scarcity is a form of the takeaway, right? Because nobody wants to miss a chance. Nobody wants to not be able to get a thing. And so one of my favorites, this is just one of many takeaway formats, is that, if you're in a position with a client where you're constantly talking to them like they're going to buy, and you're constantly talking to them from the framing of, I'm already busy. I mean, whether you have 2 clients or 20, they always feel like you're busy and you're closing stuff, just the language you use. And then you say to them, you know what? I don't know if we can take on your SEO. I don't know, Tom, if we can take on your SEO because we just onboarded 3 other clients this week. I think to take on your SEO, I think we would have to wait at least another week. I don't think I can do it this week, man. I hate to turn down money. But I mean, if you could work with me on it and give me till next week, we could fit you in.
Nice.
I mean, that's like peanut butter and jelly takeaway, right, Lee? That's not complicated. That's not 301 or 401. That's like super basic, where I don't know. Oh, here's another great one. I mean, this is one of my favorite takeaways is, I came and sat in your restaurant and the food was pretty good, but the service just was not that good, Tom. And the thing is, I mean, I can generate all the leads in the world for you, but you got to bring the people back. I can't make them come back. They're not my hostage. And I really want to do this service for you. I really want to take over your email marketing and set it up and, create funnels for you and stuff to keep these people coming back and to show them offers. But, for $1,000 a month, I mean, it's a smoking deal, but man, I don't want you mad at me in a month because you're not bringing them back, bro. I mean, you're going to have to commit to me that you're going to meet with your wait staff or let me meet with your wait staff and come in here and give them some training and some schooling on just how to interact better, how to serve better, how to fix their attitude. Because if you get mediocre service like this, you're going to be mad at me and it's not my problem. But I'd love to do this for you if you can make that commitment to me, but I don't want to be embarrassed. But you can't do that if you're desperate, right?
That's right.
And so mental power says, it doesn't matter if you don't have any clients. You got to make it in your mind like you already have clients and you've already won that client and you've got 10 people waiting for you. And when you leave, you might cry because you didn't close that deal. But man, people it's like blood in the water with sharks. When they feel like you're desperate and you're willing to do stuff for free or lower your price too easy. So if you lower your price to close a deal, you always got to have a real good reason.
And that goes back, Gary, to the process versus outcome.
Exactly.
If you're so worried about the outcome, which is, I got to close this deal, you're going to come across as desperate. Whereas if you just go through the process, of talking to them, and it's not necessarily even selling, you're just having a conversation.
It's a dialogue, bro. It sure is, man.
It is. So then you can have a relaxed dialogue about what their needs are and how you can help them, as opposed to, being so worried about closing that deal that you're going to come off as desperate. Please, I need this deal. I need you. I need your money. That's how you're going to come across.
Right. Exactly, bro. Well, I always feel like I earn it, right? So I earn because everybody always tells me I have big stones, but the thing is I earn it. I prep. So I do what you taught me to do to always be covered up with leads. And I know that if I've got X number of leads in the pipeline, I'm going to serve up X number of estimates or proposals or meet with people, whether it's, over Skype or join.me or in person. And so if I don't close that deal, just like you said, I'm not under any super pressure, because if I don't close that deal, I'll close the next one because I close 2 or 3 out of every 4. So if I miss that one, the other thing is, man, when you fight for clients real hard like that, a lot of times they end up being the ding-dongs you never wanted. And for me, I feel like if I spend a half an hour a couple times or 15 minutes a couple times with people to really get to know them, I've done research on their stuff, I've kind of earned the right to be tough on them. You know, like if I have to say that, if I have to do the takeaway, it isn't like I'm just calling them and it's the first time I've called them. You know, I've emailed them a few times. A lot of times Renee's talked to them before me because she's my front person and pre-qualified them. So by the time I'm talking to them, and I'm thinking, man, I'm worth $100, $200, $300 an hour. So I'm here giving you an hour of time to sit and meet with you, and you want to give me some kind of runaround. I'm just going to take away you. I'm going to take it away because at some point, Lee, I start to feel like they're wasting my time. You know, why are you wasting my time? I don't say that to them, but that psychology says to me, I deserve to use the takeaway. I'm going to use the takeaway with them because otherwise they're going to spend 8 hours of my time. And I need to short this. I just need to go ahead and take it away because I know that's the most powerful force they're going to be dying to have it 9 out of 10 times. And it's like a face down, like when you do a stare down with someone. If you're in a position where you have plenty of leads and a good process and you're focused on that and your funnel's full, then you have the power to say, I don't want to work for this person. Because if they're going to jack me around to buy from me, how's it going to be to have to keep this account? I'd rather just pass than close the guy tomorrow instead.
Yep. Awesome stuff, Gary. So, yeah, that's a lot of good advice on sealing the deal. Now, another question that I get a lot is, I don't know how, you know, what if I am able to sell a deal? You know, well, how am I going to fulfill it? How do I get the results for them? So could you talk a little bit about that?
Say it again, Lee. I'm sorry, man. You broke out on the speaker.
All right. Yeah. So one of the questions I get a lot is, you know, what happens if I do close this deal? How do I get them the results that you know, that I promised them or that they're asking for? You know, so how do I fulfill these services?
Oh yeah, man. Well, and you're in step 5, aren't you? Step
Yep.
5 is the fulfillment. Yeah,
Yep.
man. Lee, listen, I've had a lot of questions about this on this call, bro. I said something earlier. I mentioned it briefly, and I mean, there have been a lot of questions on the call about that. I've posted some, but it was almost overwhelming. And man, I mean, I put it right out there in the chat. You may not have seen it because you're talking, but I let people know. I mean, we've got some great fulfillment people, just ridiculously good. And it's taken us both a lot of years to find these people. And a lot of people are on here, of course, wanting to know. They're wanting me to post them in the chat, or they're wanting us to release them and stuff. And I'm just letting them know, Lee, that we can't do that. That, you know, the problem is these are good subcontractors for us, and they can only take so many people out to onboard. And you let their name out and the pricing and just put it out there on the open web, and they're going to get 100, 200 newbies calling them, and it's going to be a meltdown, and they're going to be mad at me or mad at you. And so it's a situation where we have great people, and I'm glad to maybe put a little bit out there, but I was just sharing them that that's something that we do more in group coaching and in more advanced trainings and stuff. And I want them to get that info from us, but I think, you know, I just want everybody to respect that you know, these are years finding these people. And, you know, when you've struggled like that to find them, Lee and I are glad to share them because we want to see all of you get ahead, but you just have to be very careful. Yep. And some of the people that I mentioned, Lee, just a few, you know, one of our providers is for social media, and I'd have to double check with Renee, but I'm almost 100% that as of right now, they're posting to 4 different social pages. I think they're posting to Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and they're posting either 2 or 3 times a day for our clients. And we sell that service for $297 to $497 all day, depending on some other things we throw in and how we package it. And we pay $20 a month for that. And I mean, I've never seen anybody less than $100 to post 2 or 3 times a day to 4 different services.
Yeah.
And it's good content. Of course, they're out of the Philippines. They're in America, but they have Filipinos posting for them. But the actual work is done. The creation of the content's done here, and then the Filipino VAs post for them. But they're just, and you can set your watch by them. Another big one is for SEO. I mean, I've tried. Gosh, they're not popping to mind. The big 3 or 4. I mean, I've tried all of them. You've tried a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. Endless Rise. I mean, the thing is, all these people are $250 to $350 to start for 5 keywords for SEO, and it's just brutal because you got to charge $1,000 or $1,500 to make any money. And man, you know, and I love getting clients at the lower end and then working them up, because if you can produce for them for $500, they'll spend more and more money. And our folks that do the SEO are $150 for 5 keywords. And I mean, I've never seen anybody, you know, maybe lower than $200 or $300. and most of those suck. I mean, I've tried them. I'm better at SEO than they are, and I'm probably you know, intermediate. And but you know, we don't have the time. You know, nobody has the time. But for 150 bucks, they're just killing it, and they do pay per click as well. I'm trying to think some other ones that bounce to mind. But you know, the big thing overall in general is that you and I mean, and you've really helped me with that too, because we were fulfilling some stuff, but man, there's only one or two things that we fulfill in house now. We were fulfilling a lot before, but man, we've been so much better once we quit trying to fulfill.
Right.
And the profit margins are great. I mean, what do you even do with 20 bucks a month, and we're getting 297 and up for that? Oh, the other one is the reviews. We do video reviews. They're like review videos, and I mean, we were doing those ourselves in house, but we found a provider for $4 or $5 a video. You know, but we buy in bulk. We agree to buy at least 20 a month, and if we can't sell them all, then we just use the rest of them, and we use them as loss leaders to close deals. You know, and I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, the worst margin that we probably have is the 150 for SEO that we start at $500 or $600 on.
Nice.
And that's times 3 or times 4. And then for our salespeople, we're paying our salespeople a 25% commission. So pretty consistently, we're 25% to fulfill, 25% to the sales commission, 50% profit.
So short of having our secret sources, of course, you know, you can always do it yourself.
Yeah, of course, sure.
Always do it yourself. But, you know, when you outsource, you know, it's like panning for gold, because once you find somebody that can fulfill, and you know, the truth is that it is a lot of trial and error. You know, I've hired more outsourcers, more fulfillment people than I care to admit, and a lot of them just really did not deliver, quite honestly. But when you do find one, you know, you just really got to hang on to it. So one of the sources, I've actually given it in the course, the advanced training, I think it was. But one of the sources that I use is easyoutsource.com. So if you guys want to write that down and go explore that, there are a lot of good Filipinos there that can help fulfill services at cheaper, in most cases, than an Odesk or an Elance. So it's easyoutsource.com. You guys can check that out. But yeah, other than that, dude, you know, fulfillment, you can always go to the big players like Endless Rise that you mentioned. Okay, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to somebody like that. You know, and your experience may vary depending on who you choose. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with going with people like that, white label providers. You'll have to charge more upfront, okay, to your clients, but they will do a good job for you, okay? And you can find a lot of them online. You can find their reputation. You can talk to other, you know, local marketers and get recommendations. But they're out there, and you know, you just need to really. Sometimes it is a matter of just charging more to be able to get that. So, any other words on fulfillment, Gary?
Yeah, no, I think you killed it on that. And those guys are good. It's just, again, it's about profit margin. So for me, you know, and I can do just, I mean, I've been doing this 5 years, but I'll tell you what, I spent 4 years learning to do everything in this business. I mean, I've built hundreds of websites. I was killing it on SEO until Penguin 2.1 hit. I call it Black Friday in October of 2013. I was on thousands of pages, number 1 or 2 on Google, generated 3,000 leads a year or more, inbound call-in leads for construction. And I literally got up to get a freaking snack at 11:45 and go upstairs and make like a tuna sandwich. Came down and refreshed, and I was on page 5, 10, and 15, man. I mean, just crazy. And you've heard me cry about that. It was that September of 13 was Hummingbird. Hummingbird was an algorithm change, and then that October on like Friday the 24th, again, I call it Black Friday. Well, I recovered. I still generated about 1,500 to 2,000 leads in 14, but man, it just killed me. And that was really when I was coming on to do this as a full living, and that just took all the wind out of my sails. And I went back to, you know, I started paying attention to my construction company, And you know, I look back, Lee, and it was great because it has helped me to have that knowledge it has. But for 4 years, I spent most of my time learning to be the outsourcer. I mean, isn't that crazy, dude? Can you imagine, bro, looking at what's happened in the last 6 months, can you imagine where Renee and I'd be if I spent the last 4.5 years doing what I did the last 6 months?
Right.
Oh my God, I'd be making $5 million a year. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it is the epitome of penny wise and pound foolish that I fulfilled for myself. It was a tight race between that and shiny object syndrome for kicking my own butt.
It happens to all of us, man.
Yeah, man, I know you've been there too, but longer ago. But to be able to fulfill. Now, the problem with Endless Rise for me and these other providers, and they are pretty decent. There's a lot of them that are good, but the guys we have are so affordable, and I think they're better than all those guys. They're just super. And for me, it's scalability. So for Renee and I to scale and hire salespeople, I got to pay a commission, means I can't be gouged. And if I'm paying Endless Rise $350 and I got to charge $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,500, how many deals that I couldn't close? And for $500 with good upfront marketing, man, that's just like it's an easy close. So I'm with you, Lee, and I agree. I mean, it's better to just fulfill, period. But it's these places that we've got, man, they're worth money. They're worth big money to have these connections because it gives us an advantage that, I mean, I never get complaints about my pricing, and neither do you.
Right.
And we're making great margins.
Well, we'll definitely, I want to come back to this conversation in a little bit.
Okay, bro.
Because, yeah, there is something I want to share. But first, guys, if you go to this website, you know, the software that I use for emailing is replyapp.io, okay? And they just came out with this. And actually, hey, Gary, it's replyapp.io/outbound. So remove the -sales-score. But so if you go to replyapp.io/outbound, this is a really cool tool that I found that they told me about that scores your outbound campaign. So they ask you like 30 questions and you answer them honestly, and then it scores your campaign on, you know, how well you're gonna how well you have it set up and how well you might expect to do with it. Okay, so I wanted to give this resource before I forget, because it's just it is really cool. And you know, before you get started on anything, before you start emailing, you can go run through the questions, because it's kind of almost a checklist, like a pre-launch checklist of best practices to be able to have a successful campaign. So go to this resource, replyapp.io/outbound. replyapp.io/outbound. Remove that sales score thing. Okay. So I want to see if Matthew is on the line. So let me see. Matthew, if you're here, go ahead and type something in the chat box for me.
Hey, just so you know, Lee, I went ahead and put that. And I'm sorry, everybody on the call. I went ahead and dumped that reply app URL in here, but I didn't hear you the first time, Lee. I was typing, and I put the whole thing, but then I just put it in again with just the outbound. So,
all right.
Sorry to anybody that clicked that first one.
All right.
Hey, Lee, Damon says hi, by the way. Damon Green, he's on here.
All right.
Got to give a shout out to our brother Damon, man. You're killing it.
Damon, you're awesome, buddy.
He's an offline elite.
Okay, so Matthew, you are on. So I hope I choose the right one, because there's no last names here, Matthew. Thank you for not putting your last name. I'm going to invite you in.
Yeah, there's actually 3 on here, Lee. There's 3 Matthews. Okay. What are the odds that one wouldn't have put Matt?
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. I'm going to invite you in, and hopefully it's the right one. And hopefully it works. I've never used this feature before. Matthew, you there? Now I lost him from the list. That's great.
Well, maybe he's going to sign back in with his last name. He's pretty sharp. Hey, just to let you know, man, we've had maybe 2 or 3 people jump off. They had to go places. Everybody that jumped off sent a message in the chat saying what they had going on. They had to go somewhere with their wife or whatever, or do something with
cool.
their kids. But dude, every one of them just, thanks so much for the great information. Every one of them said they're going to listen to the replay to make sure we get the replay out. Best webinar. One of them said best webinar that they've seen in at least a year. Just really, really great. I just wanted to encourage you, bro, because I know while you're talking, it's hard to read these as they're shooting in. And
yep.
In fact, Marcel, I think Marcel is still out there. He actually had to go and came back on.
Nice.
He made something. He had to do something real quick, and he came back on and gave us a shout out to tell us he was back.
Right. Okay. So yeah, Matthew, it looks like he had to go get a plug-in or something because this Google Hangouts thing with the webinar jam, it's really dependent on a lot of different moving parts. So it's been nice, but there's definitely it's not as intuitive as a lot of others. So yeah, that's okay. That's not a problem.
If you're doing it every day all the time, you're cool. But
yep, that's not a problem at all. So I tell you what, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna move forward, and then when Matthew is ready, hopefully, because I really want him to come on and talk about his story. But we'll go ahead and move on while he's trying to do that.
Yeah, good call, Lee. Just because it's 8:30, we need to keep it going.
Yep. So Matthew, as soon as you're ready, man, just hit me up on Skype, and then we'll try to get you on. So because this is a guy who bought the course, applied it right away, and had a little bit of success. And I wanted him to discuss that success, and he said he's back on. So let's see.
I haven't seen him in chat yet.
Damon, what are you talking about, man? You trying to tell me something? Yeah. Angie, are you in Atlanta? Because, yeah, you're right. The storm is coming. I see the lightning out there, and hopefully it doesn't cut me off because that would be bad.
Angie, what part of Atlanta are you in? Just while we're waiting for Matt to come on. Oh, there, Matthew's back on, bro.
Okay.
He said right here.
John, we're gonna have this replay posted pretty much right away. It's got a render and everything else, and then it's gonna post automatically, and then you're gonna get an email with a link to the replay. So no problem. Hopefully, you got some value out of this, and we look forward to seeing you on the replay too. All right. So we're having technical difficulty with Matthew. So anyway, what I was saying was that he came in cold and bought the course just like everybody else, the lock and load course. Went ahead and sent some emails, and within the first 50 emails that he sent, he's already had some success. So hopefully he'll come on, but if not, I'll talk about it a little bit later. So now that was a lot of information, and you're probably wondering how to even get started with so much work to do. It can get really overwhelming here. So how would you like me to personally take you by the hand to get your business going? Okay. So Gary, you want to talk about what we got going on here?
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I'm over here in chat world, man. I was listening to you, but I'm doing all the chat response and stuff, talking to everybody, catching up with them.
Yeah.
Oh, Angie said she's in Snellville, by the way.
Okay.
Cool, Angie. That's not too far from Lee, actually. He's up near Lawrenceville.
So yes, we are going to personally take you by the hand to get your business going, and we're going to be talking about this new course that we have called the Offline Launchpad class.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. So let's talk about what you get. So go ahead, Gary.
Okay. It's a 6-week course. So we're going to be meeting every Tuesday night. Did we decide at 7 o'clock, Lee?
Yep.
So 7 o'clock, this is Tuesday night now. So it'd be like tonight for each of the next 6 weeks. And the first 5 of those 6 weeks is going to be the same 5 steps that we talked about tonight, but it's going to be broken out for the entire time. Call it an hour of training, 45 minutes to an hour. And then we're going to do some hot seats. We're going to have extended Q&A. We're going to bring some tools to the table. We've got some other stuff that we're going to get into a little later here in the call, some other things that we're going to do that are really cool. And of course, in week 5 of the 6 weeks is fulfillment. Anybody that's in the course, we're going to give you our list of people to fulfill for just about everything you can, at least all the main things for sure. There's a couple of few things, again, that we still fulfill ourselves, but and we may end up offering to fulfill that for you if we can't find you someone else to do it. But we have a pretty big cavalcade of people, pretty big stable of people to do any of the basic, 5 or 10 things that you would need to sell. And I mean, it's worth taking the course just to get that. That'll be week 5. Of course, you can already tell that, I mean, Lee's my coach, but I love selling. And so week 4, what we talked about tonight for 5 or 10 minutes about selling, I mean, it's going to be an hour of that. And we're going to break it down point by point, how to sell and how to close from the very beginning to the very end. And every step in that process is a little bit different. So sometimes you skip one step, it's not relevant, but it's going to be really granular. And I think another big thing to focus on, Lee, is the fact that if you guys have a question, all you have to do is email us, even in between the webinars, email us, and within 24 to 48 hours, we'll get you a detailed answer. We'll get you a video training on it. We'll get you some solid material, some solid feedback so you can keep moving. I mean, our absolute commitment is to keep you moving for the 6 weeks steadily like a juggernaut towards getting to where you be to the next level, that you can have at least 1 or 2 clients if you don't have any. If you already have clients, and we want to help you just, take that exponential and potentially get rid of some lame clients and replace them with some better clients. I think that would be a worthwhile goal.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and go through exactly what they're going to get. Let's see. So week 1, you're going to get niche selection training. So we're going to help you with picking a niche. And Gary talked about, those little in-between niches that, people don't hit. Well, we're going to be talking about that in depth. We're going to be talking about the service selection, okay? And what you're going to be fulfilling on. We'll make sure it's something, we'll work with you on something that's something that resonates with you, something that you're going to be comfortable with. And then we're going to help you with your website and any software that needs to be set up. So basically, we want to eliminate any roadblocks. If it's a technical roadblock that you have, we're going to eliminate that, okay? In the second week, we'll go over more mindset stuff, which is really important. Lead generation, you've seen a couple of our sources, but we have even more than that. And then the email construction. So we'll go more in depth into how to construct these emails to be able to get you those 40, 50, 60% response rates, okay? And then in week 3, we'll do some emailing critiques. We'll work on your follow-ups, because the fortune's in the follow-up, right? And then we're going to work on how to handle the replies and then setting your appointments. So the question of what happens if this happens? What happens if they say this? We're going to go over all of that stuff. Like Gary said, in week 4, we're going to help you close the deal. Week 4 is just all about closing the deal. Week 5, we talk about service delivery, fulfillment, and outsourcing. So you're going to have access to the people that we have access to that do an amazing job on the back end, and you're going to have access to them, so you'll be able to fulfill your services at incredible margins. And then week 6, so if we've gone through all this and you've done it right, you should be getting results. Week 6, we're going to talk about scaling those results to take you beyond and automating that process, okay? So it's a lot more hands-off for you. You let it run by itself like a machine. It's just going to work, all right? So The training videos, we're going to have training videos for each module. The value of that is $3,500. I spent $3,500 to have these videos done. We're going to have a weekly Q&A webinar, like Gary said, and we're going to have some additional training. We're going to do some hot seats. We're going to do some critiques. So if you have, if you're stuck somewhere in the process, you know, if someone replies something to you that you don't know how to respond with, or if you keep getting the same answers over and over and you don't know how to overcome that, then we're going to go over that in the Q&A webinar, and we're going to be able to help you overcome that. And the value of that, I say $5,000. Why do I say $5,000? Because some of you guys are in my coaching program and you have spent $5,000 to be in my coaching program. The stuff that we do in the webinar is the stuff that I will be doing, that I have done with my students. Now, you know, it won't be one-on-one necessarily, but, you know, if you're on the webinar, we will bring you on and, you know, we'll answer any of your questions and, you know, we'll help you overcome whatever issue you're having. Okay. So we're here basically primarily to eliminate all the roadblocks for you to go from 0 to 6 figures. Now, if you act in the next 10 minutes, you're also going to get the following fast mover bonuses. So bonus number 1, we're going to give you your first 1,000 leads. And that's valued at $400. You know, we have our lead sources. There's the effort in getting those leads compiled. We're going to give you 1,000 of them right off the bat. Okay. We're going to have a second bonus. And I kind of touched on this a little bit. We're going to do for you any web work that you need done so that we eliminate any of the technical obstacles. You know, so if you don't have a website, or if your website isn't working for you, it's not selling anything, it's kind of making you lose credibility, whatever, we're going to revamp that. We're going to do that for you. You know, we don't want you going back and saying, oh, you know, I can't prospect, or I can't send this email because what if they go to my website and it sucks? All right, we're going to eliminate all that. So what's the total value of all this, what we're talking about? So, you know, between the coaching and the videos and the leads and the done for you web stuff, you know, that adds up to over $10,000. Okay. But you're not going to be paying $10,000 today. You could pay half that, but we're not going to charge you for half that. Now you could pay, you know, $2,000 for it. And at that price, it would actually be a really good value because of what's included. But you're not going to pay that either. But for only what you're going to pay is $997 one time. That's only if you act in the next 10 minutes. And the URL is emailprospectingsystem.com/online launchpad. Now, I'm actually not done. There's actually more. You know, I don't want to sound like you know, like an infomercial, but and I'm going to put the URL here, and there we go.
Yeah, I put the URL in the chat, bro. I got it.
Yeah. So I got the offer up, but there is more to this.
Come on, Lee.
Yeah.
Come on, bring it, brother.
All right, fine. I'm not going to charge the $997.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lee, we talked about that because next time, for the people that miss this one, it's going to be $9, but not this time.
Right, not this time. Because
the early adopters, bro, we love action takers. We used to not be action takers. We got to take care of them, bro.
You got it. So, you know, because you're live here today with us, I want to give you a special deal. We're going to give everything for $497. So one payment of $497 gets you the 6-week training, and we're going to take you by the hand to get your, you know, your first client, your 10th client, your 100th client, whatever it is. And we're going to remove every obstacle from your path to make sure that you're successful. Okay. So emailprospectingsystem.com/offline launchpad. And, you know, you can buy now with confidence, because in the unlikely event that you're not completely satisfied with this package, anytime within the next 30 days, you'll receive a prompt and courteous refund. Okay. Now, if you're one of the first 10 people to sign up, I am going to double your leads to 2,000. So only for the first 10 people that sign up, you'll get 2,000 leads right off the bat instead of the 1,000. If you're the 11th person on, you know, sorry, you got to act fast. But for the first 10, we'll double your leads. So it's only for the first 10 people, and I'll know who you are based on the transaction timestamp. Okay? So go ahead and act now. Email prospectingsystem.com/offline launchpad. Now, at the beginning of the webinar, I said that we were going to have a giveaway. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let one of you guys in that's on this call right now for free. So that is a $500 value for somebody on this call. Okay? So I'm going to do is all you guys are numbered, and I'm going to generate a random number on this website here. So I'm going to call out a number, and then hopefully we can match that up with somebody. Okay, so number, oops, hold on, I got to do that again. Number 14 is Julie. Julie, are you still on the line? Are you still on the call? Hopefully you're on the call. If you are, please say, identify yourself in the chat box, please. And if not, we might have to pick somebody else. Okay, do we have her?
Yeah, Julie, I got a wow from Julie.
All right, awesome. So Julie, please put in your email address, and we're going to let you into the class for free. Now, we're still trying to get Matthew on the line because it's really, I think it'd be awesome if he could get on here. So yeah, Julie, put your email address in. We're going to email you the details. But in the meantime, we're going to go with Q&A. So if you have any more questions, I know Gary's been, you know, hacking away at the keyboard, answering your questions on the fly. But if you have any questions, please go ahead and answer them. Ask them in the chat box. So Gary, do you have any questions?
No, man. I'm hanging on deal with Julie. I'm just letting her know that she can go ahead and type her information in chat, and that I won't reveal it.
Oh, okay.
There you go. We got it right there. She just sent her email.
Awesome.
If you can, Julie, send your cell phone to Lee and I. Are, you know, we had a couple of really good comments on here, bro. I got to tell you that people are really digging what we're doing, and some of them making references to maybe some similar product from other folks, you know, but which I'm real honored because they're putting this product with some pretty high names. But what I responded to him, Lee, was that we're a lot more accessible.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the beginning stages right now, you know, in a year, 2 or 3 years, I don't know. I hope we stay grounded and, you know, regular folk like we are. I mean, we're in our mid-40s with families, you know, we're pretty regular dudes. And we're both in Atlanta together. I think we've kind of a different thing going, but big factors for anybody listening would be that, A, we're real accessible. I mean, I can't tell you how many people in the last week or two have emailed us, and we've spent a lot of time with them on email or called them back and spoke on the phone. And we really enjoy the fact that we can do that we're not so overloaded, that we have some margin. And the other thing is that we're pretty hot and sweaty in the middle of this. I mean, a lot of the people that I've learned from before Lee, you know, they hadn't really done SEO or done any of this in a number of years. And I mean, Lee is still doing this, although he's probably not going to be able to be a consultant much longer. Between all the coaching and the IM stuff, it's going to push that out. But he's still doing it currently, hot and heavy, and that's all I'm doing. So, you know, you're getting some people that are really doing this every day, all the time, living it and breathing it, and that we're willing to get dirty. You know, I just think we're really approachable. We're very transparent. We're the first ones to admit that we're human, and but at the same time, that means we're willing to admit, the things that we've done to break out. And I just think anybody that gets involved is going to be happy with the granularity and the transparency and the realness. And would you mind if I addressed real quickly, like about the whole done for you web thing? Because I think there's probably a lot of questions. I see them coming in on that.
Yeah, actually, give me 1 second because I want to address this. So Kenneth asked, you purchased the 200 leads with a $97 upsell. Not sure what's going on. Kenneth and everybody else who has purchased that, we're getting them out slowly. It is a very manual process, and there's a lot of information that we needed to go back and forth. There's a lot of moving parts to getting that taken care of. Between the developer of the software, between me, because I'm the one doing the templates and getting some of the leads done, and also my other outsourcers who are getting the leads done. So there's a lot of moving parts. I apologize if it's taking a little bit longer, but I promise you we're going to get that out so you guys can be off and running with that. And let's see. Go ahead, Gary. You can go ahead and address what you were looking for.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. Maybe jump in chat while I'm doing that a little bit. I'm getting a little behind, and talk to Julie a little bit. She gave us the email, but I didn't see a phone number yet. I just wanted to like the web thing, because this is probably a good example of how Lee and I would deal with things and what we've worked out. So some of you on the call, you already have a website and it's pretty good. Maybe you could use a better logo. Maybe you just need some better copy. Just like we go out with clients all day and we do, conversion tactics with them all the time. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to throw out to people as kind of a bone to get in the door with them, is to critique their website, but not some kind of automated critique where I actually go through and write them an email telling them, all the things they can improve on their website, take it or leave it. And then they almost always come back and want to hire you if it's good. I mean, they know it's good because they've had a website for 10 or 15 years. Well, we want to do the same thing for y'all. So if you're already in the game and you have a website and you have a domain name and you have hosting, that's fantastic. Of course, that stuff's not real super expensive, but if we can help you take that another level, we would love to critique it. We would love to give you feedback on it, give you some stuff to put up on it. If you're someone on the call that's really struggled with that, I know that when Lee emailed earlier this week, he showed them to me, and there are a lot of people out there, probably a lot on this call, that just got a hosting and domain and don't know what to do with a website. And you haven't been building websites for the last 3, 5, 10 years like Lee and I, nor do you have our outsourcers or our VAs. And so we have a number of developers licensed the template, some of them from off the forum, some of them that we've built ourselves or had our outsourcers build. And so if you're someone on the call that doesn't have a website, we can give you direction on getting the domain and the hosting. We're not going to pay for that, but we can give you, clear, concise direction on that. And once you get that, you can send over your cPanel login information and all that, and we'll help you pick, a theme to put up, and we'll preload it with information and put your phone number and your email into it. What we're not offering to do is to, have our VAs do high-level customization. I mean, it's a $497 product for 6 weeks of coaching. I mean, it's worth that times 5 or 10 or more just for the coaching. But, normally this kind of service would be $50, $100, $200 for the kind of service we're talking about. And I realize there are people on the call that won't need that high level of hand-holding or service. And obviously we're going to give you the information to try and have you do some of it yourself. But if you get stuck and you can't load the website, or you need us to put your logo up on it or customize it some, we have VAs. We're willing to just do that for you. And again, I caution, we're not going to customize the site like high-level customization. I mean, at some point it just gets beyond reason. But I've never, in 5 years of being around this, I've never had someone that I did coaching with or group coaching or bought a product that was willing to go to that level. And I mean, Lee and I are just committed at just the highest level to knocking anything out of your way, or putting the hammer in your hand and telling you how to do it. And if you won't do it, our VA will do it. We just are really determined to not let anything stop you. And we know from being on your end that, I mean, I can't tell you in the beginning how not being able to load something up in FTP or not being able to get a logo that I like, I mean, in hindsight, it was such a petty thing, to me now, but at the time it seemed like an insurmountable hurdle. And we just want to bring everything we can to bear to knock those things out of your way and get you going.
Awesome. Yeah. We're determined to help you and help you succeed. So I think we have Matthew on the line. Matthew, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right.
All right. So everybody, this is Matt Jelinski. He like I said, he had bought the course just like everybody else, and he's got some results to share. So if you wouldn't mind telling us your story, you have the floor.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Well, first off, man, awesome webinar. That was just so jam-packed full of info. I was going to come on here and be like, oh yeah, I'm getting leads. I'm gonna have some really cool things to share. And it's just like you guys just blew it away. So awesome work on that. What I guess where I would, man, there's just so much I want to say on these topics, but it's all about the action. I mean, before I even bought the system, I mainly focus on SEO and trying to get yourself, separate yourself from everybody else that's emailing these guys or calling these guys 20 times a day. I knew I needed to get myself educated on this practice, and we had a little success before I even knew about Lee. And that I was kind of searching for it. And it was just kind of out of the blue. I was looking on Facebook, and there was a promotion for Lee. So I clicked on it. It was right what I wanted. So I bought it. And after I bought it, I think I went over the whole course about twice within 24 hours. I mean, I really dove right into it. And it was just such good information because I was worried about the spam laws. I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't want to get in trouble. So that was a really big help. And just kind of how a person that's been there through the grind, how he approached it, and that's exactly what Lee did in his training course. So we went after we got it, after we went through the course, we put it all together. It took about a day or two. We didn't spend too long, but we got our first email campaign going out on about day 3 after the course. And within that first campaign, we were only sending like 50 emails. We were just kind of testing the waters, and I almost got too many leads in the sense that I had a few things I was selling because I rank and rent sites. So I was just trying to see, use that as the first test to see how many, people I could get interested in my sites for in these leads. I got one in, another one in, another one in, and within, I don't know, maybe 10 hours of sending out the first email, I had both sites leased at top dollar. So that was pretty cool. I actually even had to tell people that I couldn't help them in the sense that I didn't have any more sites. So that was pretty amazing right there. Wow. I dove even a little bit deeper into it, and I was like, all right, so now the next thing that we have to do is look at an email campaign for our SEO, for our straight up SEO service for clients. And we followed the course, we went through it, and we submitted we're submitting our emails. And it was funny because right before we did that, I said, hey, let's go back to the emails we were sending before because we weren't doing any follow-ups, and that's one of the things you're pretty big on, Lee. As I said, let's go send out some follow-ups. Well, we did that, and on the right when we did that, we got a person that called us back and said, hey, I'm glad you sent this follow-up because I just noticed your first one went to spam. And so hopped on a call with him and sold him on a $1,250 continued SEO plan on the same day. So what I can say is with what Lee teaches, I've got a pretty set up system. I know what I'm selling. I know how to fulfill. I just needed a way to get things going. So with that said, I can say that just from Lee's course and his training on the low side, I mean, what you're selling here today is just amazing. I mean, that is like awesome. But just with his simple training on how to just prospect, I can tell you this, Lee, that, and I can thank you for this, for putting your information out there because I just ran the numbers today, and my monthly nut, I guess you could say, to survive was covered today by doing this.
Nice.
So from this point, man, that's cool, bro. Way to go.
Thanks, man. And so everything after this point is pure profit for us. I mean, it's just. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So all I can say is, I've been in the industry for a while as far as internet marketing goes, and I kind of get a little emotional about it sometimes because we're entrepreneurs. We're on this webinar because we're entrepreneurs. We're trying to figure it out, and those who don't quit will eventually figure it out. But you got to start looking at yourself and thinking smarter. And I had the shiny object syndrome, man, and my girlfriend would get so upset at me because I'd be in here watching a video and she'd be like, "What? I thought you were supposed to be on the phone." I said, "Well, I need to learn this." Like, "No, you need to get on the phone." So, and it wasn't for the longest time, and here's something I can, tell a lot of people that, I was a little embarrassed to say a long time ago, but, it is what it is. We all go through our moments, and we have to look at ourselves and get past this, because if it wasn't a challenge, it wouldn't be so great when you get there. That's the way I believe. So, my girlfriend, she actually cashed in her 401k and sold her car for us to start our business.
Holy cow.
Oh my gosh, bro.
And and here's the hardest part. Here's the hardest part for me. We did that almost I don't know, it was probably about a year and a half ago maybe. Do you know how much money we made on $40,000 with as an investment? None.
Wow.
Because the mindset was wrong. There was no action. There was no plan. There was no support. I had no mentors. I had no one to look up to, no one to ask questions to. I had no idea. I knew I liked SEO, and I knew that that was kind of where I wanted to go. But man, those shiny objects kept on pulling. Oh, now it's video marketing. Oh, now it's social media. Oh, now it's this. And man, I would never make money. Or the even worse problem is trying to perfect your system before you even start. And I'll tell you this: we got down to the last frickin' wire. It was like, holy crap, we're going broke. Like, we had a couple weeks to survive, and if we didn't pull something out of our butts, we were done. Job time, and who the heck wants one of those? We're entrepreneurs. So that's when we really got down, and we did quite well on the first round of emailing, and then when we brought in Lee's system, we're doing even better. Now we're more automated. But my point of the story is I know there's a lot of people out there listening on this webinar that are, probably having the same experiences, failure to launch kind of thing. But that you don't need a lot of money to get started. You don't need a special, I don't know what to say, like you don't need everything perfect. What made us money and got us back on track, which now we could literally stop right now. We wouldn't have anything extra, but our bills would be paid. Our bills would be paid. We'd be good. So now we have time, and now everything else is profit. So just do it. Get with Lee. He knows his stuff, and I'm looking very forward to hopping in there and taking it to the next level, because, man, it's pretty awesome, and I have you to thank for that, Lee.
Nice. Appreciate that, Matthew.
That's great, man. Way to kill it, brother.
Thanks, man.
So I see some people are in, but then some people are having problems with paying. So I tell you what I'm going to do. If you would email me, and I'm going to put my email in the chat box here. So if you would email me, I'm going to go ahead and hook you up with the 2,000 leads. So I apologize if you are having trouble. So email me if you did have trouble with paying. I will send you a different way to pay, and I will make sure anybody who emails me, since I don't have a timestamp for that, for when you tried to buy, if you're not one of the first 10, and I don't have access in front of me right now. I'm not logged into the shopping cart or anything, so I don't know if the 10's already been fulfilled. But even if it has, and you've been having problems, just email me, please, pbwebmarketing@gmail.com, and I'll go ahead and hook you up with the 2,000 leads. Okay?
Yeah. Good call, Lee. Good call, bro.
So I'm going to say that again in a little bit, but now Larry looks like he has a question about handling closing on SEO.
Yeah, I responded. I was just telling him that, we, because we already talked about closings and we talked about SEO, but that's kind of a little bit of a rabbit trail. I don't want to go there this late. It's been going long, but obviously we'll get into that in the training, and we may get it into the Lee and Gary show or in one of our other webinars coming up, but that's a big one to unpack.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And yeah, we're definitely going to go over that very, very in depth during the training. So, yeah, so that's cool. So again, guys, if you had trouble with payments, I don't really know why some of you got in and some of you didn't, but go ahead and email me, please, at pbwebmarketing@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to send you another way to get that in so you can secure your spot. And also, I'll go ahead, whoever emails me, I'll go ahead and hook you up with the 2000 lead. I think that's fair enough. Any other questions, guys? I know Gary's been hacking away at the keyboard, so a lot of the questions have been answered already. But does anybody else have? If anybody else has any questions, go ahead and get it in here. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We're way over time, but the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, and I really appreciate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. With the positive feedback, and you appreciate the info that we gave. Like I said, we want you to succeed, and we want to do whatever we can to facilitate that. So, Gary, if you could, I'll post the email again.
Yeah, in the group. Yeah, I got to say thank you so much to everybody on the call. My gosh, I mean, it was just so much fun to be the chat guy in the back end while Lee was talking, and great questions. I hope I did a good job for all of y'all answer them, or some of them were just a little overwhelmingly long to respond to, so I kind of put them off or suggested it to take to do the coaching and stuff. But I answered a lot of them, and they were great questions. I mean, and people were so complimentary, Lee, and everybody was so courteous. It was just a great webinar, y'all. So we really appreciate it. It makes it a lot of fun to do this. It makes it that when we want to keep doing it when it's like this, it's just super nice.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, Julie, we did get your email, but if you wouldn't mind emailing me anyway at the email address I posted, pbwebmarketing@gmail.com. If you could email me there as well, just to make sure that I have it, then we'll get you hooked up. And yeah, Julie, I appreciate that. I know it's a tough situation, but we're gonna help you out as best we can. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm glad that you won it, Julie. Then, if it was going to be tough for you to do it, others, I'm glad that you won it. That's really great.
So I'm going to stay on here another minute because everybody's still having trouble with the payment.
Actually, it's funny, Lee. I just while you're working out the payment thing and checking on that, a number of years ago, I was real close to getting out of this, and if I had, then I would have never met you, Lee. But fortunately, I got kept in the game. I made friends with a dude named Ryan McKinney, alias Rymac, and I met him way back at the beginning. And I was doing lead gen and a lot like Matt, and we bumped into each other. And I wasn't producing product or any of that. I was just a construction guy doing leads for other construction people. And he was just starting to do that with Rankin Videos, and we got to work on some stuff together and became friends. And I went on a call with him and Brian Anderson and Sid Michaels, and won a bunch of stuff. I got to go on a trip to Vegas to the Rockstars convention for the two Rockstars back in 2012 or 13, and it was all paid for. And it was a lot like Julie. I mean, I was just at a point where I was just really frustrated and frazzled, and quite honestly, that was just like sometimes you just need something like that to happen to keep you in the game,
Yep.
Hey,
Lena. I just got a message, Lena, startup costs expected. Well, while you're on the 6-week course, you shouldn't really have any other expenses other than the normal, autoresponder. I mean, you don't even need an autoresponder in this case, but
yeah, because you're using Google or Gmail with Replay.
Yeah.
And Replay is free for the first month.
Yeah. So I mean,
just hosting in a domain, Lee, is all I can think.
Right. The marketing pack, the online marketer pack is what I like to call it, the starter kit. So everybody who's an online marketer should have, their own domain and their own hosting and website. If you don't, we'll hook you up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much anyways, Lena. I mean, you're talking about less than $10 for a domain, and I don't know, maybe maybe $5 or $3 a month for hosting.
Yeah.
And then we've got a bunch of themes, so we'll work with you. If you don't have a website yet, we'll get you one set up. Just get us your information once you get the domain and the hosting, and we're
Right.
glad to help you with that. But once you get it set up, we'll do all the other stuff. You won't have any costs in the website or any of that.
Outside of like having your own website and things like that, for the 6 weeks that you're with us, you won't need, reply will be taken care of.
You'll have leads.
You will have leads.
Yep.
And yeah, that's really about it. And then, in the fulfillment costs, well, your clients are supposed to take care of that anyway. So it wouldn't be any out-of-pocket cost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really very little startup costs associated when you take this journey with us.
Yeah. No, and one of the advantages, Lee, is that we're not selling websites, and we're not selling software and any of that. All we're selling is training and coaching.
Right.
And so that's why, and I've loved that about you, is that you're so committed to making the other stuff available. And every place else, it's like you feel like you're in the gold rush. They're trying to sell you shovels and food, and you're at the gold rush, and it's like, you're taking a big enough risk already, and they're trying to sell you all the software. And so much of that stuff you just don't need until you're advanced. Even then, you don't really need it.
Right. So yeah, what other tools would be necessary? There really aren't many tools that would be necessary. Yeah. I use the Reply app to send emails. That's the main tool, to be honest. And then, any scraping tools to gather leads. But again, we're going to provide that initially.
Now, if you did Google commercial, because Renee and I have commercial accounts, because you can email about twice as many a day versus a regular Gmail, and that's only $5 a month, and you don't really need that. Although that's something that most people would get pretty quickly, probably. But that's $5 a month. It's so little.
Yep. So okay. If there are no other questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Gary, it was awesome. Appreciate you taking this journey with me on this webinar. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of it. We tried to give as much information as we could. And, really at this point, it's just a matter of taking action. So, you have the courses, you have the tools, and, you have the knowledge. So now it's just a matter of just doing it, really. These questions are coming in late. All right, you got that? Thanks. Cool. Thanks, Gary. So anything else you want to address, Gary?
No, man, I think that's it, dude. It was such a pleasure, Lee.
Yep,
it was
totally.
Such a pleasure, bro. I think the world of you, man.
Yep, I have you. So this has been awesome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the call. If there are any other questions, or if you had trouble with making a payment, again, the email is pbwebmarketing@gmail.com. Go ahead and get that on there. Send me an email if you have any questions, or if there's anything I can help you with. And for now, we're going to sign off and say goodnight. So thanks, Gary. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Lee.
And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
See y'all soon.
All right.